Customer marketing is one of the main ways that we scaled our company Interact from 0 to 3 million ARR, completely bootstrapped in a space that has tons of funding. We used it to basically go around all the systems where you can just spend money in order to get attention. And it's a way for us to grow without having to rely on any platform. So not Instagram, not YouTube, not Google search, not AI search, none of that. Those are all great things and we do them as well. Those are other pillars of our marketing. But customer marketing has always been the one that persists despite all the changes that happen in the rest of the world. So I want to talk through the three elements of customer marketing and how they work. Basically, it's calls, content, and comms. We'll go through each of those in detail. Everything with customer marketing starts with a call with a customer. Now, in order to get this call, you have to offer something of value. You can't just say, hey, can I talk to you and get your feedback and your perspective? No one wants to do that. And also, every company is reaching out to people asking for their feedback. You have to offer value first. And then at the end of the call, you can gather information that's helpful to you to create your content and your comms. So, the way to do this is a couple of primary ways. The main one that we've always done from the very beginning of our company is offer free strategy calls. Free strategy calls are basically the idea that whatever it is that your product or your service helps with, you offer a free call. You have to have boundaries with this. You can't just give away free time, but typically it's 30 to 60 minutes, depending on how long your customers tend to stick around and what the lifetime value is. Depending on how long they stick around, you can offer more for free because you know that the conversion rates of people who take these calls is going to be high in terms of whether they're not already a customer or if they are a customer, they'll stick around longer. So we've always found it to be effective. We do about 50 to 75 of these a month to this day. We've always done about that amount, and it's just a way of getting a constant stream of feedback. Now, the way that we run those calls, we offer a free strategy call and we help people set up their quizzes. That's what we do. And at the end, we basically ask people for their experience with the product. We ask them why they came to us, what other options they considered, what they were doing before. This is all incredible info to help inform your content, which is the second piece, because you're going to take all those stories, all those things that people say, all the words that they use, and turn those into content, both long form and short form. You're also going to potentially turn these calls into podcast interviews. If customers are up for it and they're up for being featured as a guest on your podcast, you can set up a podcast where you talk about your topic, your area of expertise, and invite people on. Another great way of doing calls, quote unquote, is if you are big on social media, it's the comments and the DMs that people send you. It's the things that people say in response to the content that you're putting out there that helps you gather the voice of customer, that helps you understand what people are going through. Now, the reason why customer marketing and calls is so effective is that because when you give people your time, you give them help with no strings attached, it builds a ton of trust. The trust network from these calls is incredible. Over the lifetime of our company, we've been in business for about 13 years. We've done over 9,000 of these calls, and we have 10,000 paying customers. I don't think that's a coincidence. It's basically kind of one for one almost. Like every time you talk to somebody, even if they don't need your product anymore, they're probably going to tell their friends about it when their friends need your product because you have created actual helpful experience for them. And that's not like a tactic or a strategy. You are simply offering that help. And of course, you know that the ROI is going to be there because those people stick around longer, they tell their friends, and you build your own marketing. You build your own distribution network, which is why this whole thing of customer marketing is so effective, especially when platforms are changing a lot like they are now with the search to AI search change, social media disruption all the time. It's just constant. There's so many things changing all the time. But if you have your own network of people that are talking about you, then it is highly effective. So second piece of this, content. So taking your calls and turning them into content. That's the second piece of what you're doing here. So you're going to write down everything or remember whatever works for you. You can use AI to make transcripts if your customers are okay with that when you're talking to them. And you're basically going to take the words and the questions and the things that they say and turn that into content, whatever form works for you. We are big on YouTube. We're big on podcasts. We also cut that down into social content and we do blog content. All of that is informed by the voice of the customer from these calls. And a lot of our competitors don't do this, and their content ends up looking really generic. And when AI is searching through that content, deciding what to recommend, when somebody asks a question in our space, Ours contains customer stories. Ours contains the words of customers, whereas a lot of our competitors are just regurgitating what's already in the AI's memory. And the AI sees that and it's like, well, why would I say what I already know? There's nothing new here. There's nothing interesting here. Also, for a human reader or a human watcher or a human listener, it's so much more interesting to anchor on stories. I have a whole plethora of stories I can tell you about people who have made incredible quizzes and had great success with them in terms of lead generation and driving customers and how it's changed their business, the trajectory of their lives, all that kind of good stuff. And that's because of these calls. I've talked to customers for thousands and thousands of hours at this point. So whenever anything comes up that is a new topic for content, I'm going to pull in three or four or five stories to accompany that content. And now my content's really going to stand out against my competitors. So I'm going to have great content. Now, from content to comms. And by comms, I mean every time you're communicating with customers, whether that's your website, your link in bio, your social media tagline, things that you say in short pieces where you're really trying to hook people in. That's where you go from content to comms. And again, it's starting from the calls. You're starting from things that people say, you're turning that into longer form content, and then you're distilling that down into the shortest stuff, which is your website tagline, possibly the most valuable piece of real estate in your business is the header, the above the fold part of your website. And we always inform that from what our customers are saying in this stage. Like we change it probably every 6 months because customers say different things, but we wouldn't know that if we weren't on these calls. And so this is kind of the flywheel because those comms help you then get more customers who you can then ask if they want to go jump on a call, and then that's where you create the content. So it's a flywheel where it's like, okay, you start with your customers that you already have. You're figuring out what they're saying. You turn that into content. That helps attract some customers. You turn that into comms. That helps attract more customers. They come back into the pool. You interview those people. And then you're also always just constantly on the forefront of talking about the topics that people want to know about, the things that people are asking about, the questions that they have, the way that they're talking about your product, your service, what you're doing. So the customer marketing flywheel, I think, is the most effective, especially during times of change. I would say that when things are more stable and you can really optimize for like a channel, a distribution channel, that's great. But I always keep our customer marketing channel going as a strong backbone of what we're doing at Interact because there will be changes to every platform at some point. Nothing lasts forever. And so you don't want to be over indexed on like, oh, we're getting all our traffic from Instagram, all our traffic from AI search, wherever you're getting it all from, because that will change. It just always does. That's just what happens. It never stays the same. And so having a flywheel like this, where it's not reliant on any sort of third party and you are just essentially getting word of mouth marketing, but you do also get the added benefit of like, all the other platforms driving traffic from your content. And then your comms is helping your website and social media convert higher. So this is the customer marketing plan that we've used to grow our business from 0 to 3 million, and we are continuing to grow. So hopefully this is helpful to you.